Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode where we watch that thing we seem to like, and then we talk about it. Crimson Peak.
Ghosts are real.
Crimson Peak follows the story of a young girl named Edith as she falls in love with Thomas Sharp, a baronet from England, come to America to get his clay invention. It's not important. Anyways, she goes back to England and then a bunch of creepy stuff happens in a cool old house named Crimson Peak. Speaking of the house, let's talk about the visuals of the film for a minute, because God, they're gorgeous. The color, the lighting, the set design, the costumes, everything as far as the art direction and cinematography goes gets an A+. This movie is beautiful to look at. So let's talk about the ghost for a minute, because that's probably what got you interested in the movie in the first place. It did me. It was billed as a horror movie, but ended up being more of a gothic romance, a story that just happened to have ghosts, which ironically is a early line in the film. Like he really wanted to hammer that idea in there that that's what you were gonna be seeing. The ghosts don't show up often, but when they do show up, they are incredible. They're visceral and gory and just fantastically interesting to look at. Our audio will start by talking about the score. It didn't really stick with me after the film like the visuals did. Ranging all the way from melodrama to suspenseful, there was a lot of ground to cover and it did it well. I didn't have any complaints there. The sound mixing though and the sound effects were superb.
How did you get in there, you silly doggy?
With a horror film, you have to have good sound and you have to have good control over that sound. Del Toro really knows how to deliver horror and suspense, and it really shines through here. Next up, let's talk about performances. Tom Hiddleston and Jessica Chastain really stole the show on this one. Anytime that they appear in a scene, especially together, they just chew up that gorgeous gothic scenery. Mia Wasikowska did a fantastic job. Charlie Hunnam was just kind of there, and he did a good job. Not really his fault. His character was just kind of meandered throughout the story. I saw his purpose, but he could have not been there too. Part of what makes these performances so good, though, is the characters themselves. They're incredibly nuanced and complex, and by the time you tear through all the different layers and watch these characters deconstruct, you really get a sense of who they are and what their motivations are. And by the time you reach that at the end, it's incredibly gratifying because it feels like a full arc. You feel like you've really dove in and gotten to know these people. The story is incredibly unique. I can't think of any other films that have come out, in recent memory at least, that are anything like this. It's dark and twisted and has these outbursts of violence. The first third of the movie, though, is very slow, maybe get a little bit boring for some people. They don't actually get to Crimson Peak until about halfway through the movie. Is that saying the first half is uninteresting? Absolutely not. There's a lot going on there and the characters are interesting to study, but it's very dialogue heavy, and if you have a problem with that, then this might be a tough one to slog through for you. Like I said earlier, this is more of a romance with elements of horror and suspense peppered throughout, but there is a heavy dose of mystery. In fact, the whole plot kind of revolves around the mystery behind the house and certain events before that, and I can't really get into that without spoiling it, but the mystery element of it worked very well for me. I thought the way that they revealed everything throughout the story was well timed and well paced. Didn't reveal anything that kind of gave certain elements away, although there are pieces that you can probably figure out yourself as you're watching it. One of the things that I always have to praise Del Toro for is that he is a man of great restraint, except for Pacific Rim. There was no restraint there.
Today we are canceling the apocalypse!
He has these interesting characters or interesting worlds like in Pan's Labyrinth, but he only shows you bits and pieces. He never gives you the full thing because he wants you to want more, and he wants those pieces to be so compelling that that's what you latch onto. Those are the moments that you remember because they stand out from the rest of the film. And for the most part, Crimson Peak pulls that off very, very well. The scenes where there is suspense and there is horror are just some of the most memorable in a long time. Well, that's it for today's whatever this was. Go ahead and leave me a comment down below and tell me why you think I'm incredibly wrong or incredibly good looking. I'll take either. And be sure to give this video a like and share it and tell people about our awesome channel and, you know, maybe leave a comment about how good this set looks that I made by hand a couple days ago. You know, it looks good. Looks real good. Okay, thanks, bye.